Alright, so our next step is going to be to add a new layer, and we're going to start to refine this underdrawing a little bit more. So I'm going to set this one to multiply. We're going to take the layer beneath it and go ahead and lower the opacity till we can barely see it. Okay, and then I'm going to be sure to bring my brush size down a bit so I can get a little bit more detailed with my strokes. And let's go ahead and come in here and really start to refine some of this and get it a little bit more detailed. Okay, so while it does have some sort of chameleon characteristics, it also, I want it to not just be a chameleon with wings essentially. I just want it to sort of remind us of a chameleon. So I'm being sure to not just throw everything in on that bandwagon and copy that from nature directly, but I just want to be inspired by it. So the eyes is definitely something we're going to keep, okay, are those big chameleon eyes. But before we do that, actually, we should probably kind of sketch in where we think the mouth is going to go. Horn here on this forehead. We're going to do two of them, a bigger one and a smaller one. Some little spikes up there on his eye. A few spikes down here on his neck. Let's start working in here on some of the parts of his legs. His whole head I'm going to bring down in size a little bit. It's a little bit too large. I think that looks better. And I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of this horn sort of shape on his head. A little bit more reminiscent of a chameleon there. Okay, then we have his other hand. Let's do his back leg here. Okay, working in some of these muscle groups, some scales that we want to add. Right, excellent. And I think it'll be really cool also when we can get some fun colors going on in here, which we'll be able to get to later, but I'm just thinking about that in my head right now as I draw this. And then his little spikes that we'll have all down his back. Now, luckily in this art style, the photoreal style, even though it's going to be photorealistic, we don't actually have to get super crazy detailed with our drawing in order for this to work. We can keep things pretty rough, pretty loose, and it's going to actually help it turn out a lot better. So I think we're about done with this layer. Maybe just a few more pieces in the wood here. Okay. And trying to think if maybe we want any sort of ears or antenna or anything like that coming off. I think that could be fun. Or if maybe we want to rework the horns, because I'm not 100% sold on them. They're not bad. I kind of want to see what other options we have. We could do the 3-horn configuration or something more like that. Something arcing back. Actually, I think we're just going to keep it with this. Keep it pretty simple. It still has that chameleon feel to it. But I do think maybe some ears or perhaps like some leafy texture. Just trying to think, brainstorm here. We don't always have to go with just the first pass of things. Okay. But you know, it actually looks pretty good for the first try. Maybe we don't really need anything. I can add a few leaves here on this stick, this plant, or this log or whatever that he's on. So that will help kind of give us a scale of how big this thing is. He's pretty tiny. Alright. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead, after I finish adding in a few of these scales here on his tail, we're going to go ahead and call this good for this layer and move on to the next one. So I'll see you guys in the next lecture.